Hello, friends, and welcome back to the show. I am here in San Diego. I'm back for a brief period, and then I'm heading up to LA. I have some work things and some personal things, so it's just a quick stop. So I'm at a random Airbnb right now, and I feel like coming back to San Diego after having moved, because it's the first time since I've moved, and I really have not been gone very long. I just feel like so much has happened in the last month in my life. I don't know if you also feel that way. Is anyone else experiencing that? And maybe it's this October energy of being in being in the energy of what 2024 is going to be like. If this is what 2024 is going to be like, I gotta buckle up, because I just feel like so much has happened, so much has changed in the last month, and then coming back here, it literally felt like I've been gone for so long, and I've barely been gone. So a lot of interesting stuff has come up since I've been back in San Diego. Um, so I want to talk about that, and I appreciate all of you being here on this transformation ride with me. We've made so many changes, so many fun changes with the membership and Ascension School, doing the weekly Oracle calls. I am getting in a full new routine with that and calibrating to that. And it feels so right. It feels so right for me, as I've discussed before. And now trying on new flow with the podcast of having the Oracle do an episode probably once a week, and then having me pop in with some reflection points or additions or sharing some other insights, whatever, having some Christina time too. So we're playing with that flow, and so we'll see how that goes. And had to have separate intro music for the Oracle podcast, because the thing about the Oracle call, so if you're in Ascension School in the membership, you know this, like, she calibrates us in. Like, there's this piece of you're entering the temple space and recalibrating our energy. And so that initial period of entering in the space is very intentional and meant to kind of recalibrate you, and so the Oracle has a very different vibe than me. So I'm going to do two different intro songs, and that will be the cue of, hey, the Oracle is talking, which you can probably pick up on through the way that they talk. So fun stuff happening over there. And with all that, I got here a couple days ago. I feel like the last few days they've been jam-packed for me. And I got here when I booked this Airbnb. I didn't really care exactly what area. I knew the general area I wanted to stay in, just kind of in between everything, because I have to go both different parts of San Diego. Anyway, I didn't really think too much about it because I've lived here for a while and I can get around, and I was just going to be driving around everywhere anyway. So I just booked what was available, what looked nice. And I honestly didn't even look at the exact location. I didn't really know the exact location until I actually drove here and got here. And I'm like, wow, this is really weird. This is the exact road I used to take to my old place. Not my house, but the apartment I lived in before my house. And so it ends up that this Airbnb here is super close, just like a few streets over from that place I used to live. So I'm just back in my old neighborhood, just a few streets over. And it was that apartment that I lived in for a very brief period of time where so much change happened for me. And that includes when my trance channeling really turned on and activated. I really associate that apartment, that living situation, these areas with that time in my life when I was really, really connecting with these beings that I was going to work with for a long time. It was at that apartment. I keep wanting to say home. It was at that apartment where I connected with the monarch being for the first time. It was at that apartment that I met my galactic family for the first time. It was in that apartment that I changed from Christina Rice Wellness to Christina the Channel. It was when everything really, really opened up. It was when I first offered my psychic development course. It was also in that apartment that I downloaded Ahai. And I just have, like, I just associate that apartment with so many things specifically related to my spiritual evolution. It was just so foundational for me. And I would go to this little park really close to my place every single day, and I would sit there, I would ground, and I would just talk to the spirits, and I would talk to all of the beings that were hanging out in this location. A lot of people who had transitioned, who didn't fully transition, who are still hanging out. I would talk to the ETs, I would talk to the monarch being, I would talk to the ascended masters, I would talk to different gods and goddesses, and I just had this little nice private container for myself of really developing those relationships for a while before I ever actually shared any of that with anyone. And then I would walk the beach and I would connect with the ocean and the mermaid codes. And it was just a really powerful time of transformation. I was in my 5-year at the time. And so it just felt very full circle to come back here, a very different version of myself, and kind of seeing where I had laid the roots down. And I actually, it's interesting because there have been a lot of people in my life who also have been doing a similar thing. People going back to their childhood homes, going back to their hometowns. I'm like sensing this energy coming up. And I think there are things for us to recognize when we go back to those places about how much we have changed and how our resonance has changed, and also kind of close some loose ends up, because we really need to close up a lot of these open energetic doors to step into our next level, you know. And it really is go time on the planet right now. Like, everything that's dropping in is the clarity and how to really launch forward, especially next year, and really ground it in. With that, and coming back to, you know, downloading Ahai in this space, energy healing training is open for enrollment. So if you're interested in learning Ahai, that's the form of energy healing that I downloaded from the angels and the ascended masters, and I work with myself, and I've trained other people in. So if you've been wanting to learn energy healing, get trained in that from me, now is your opportunity. I don't open this super often. There are limited spaces. So when I record this, we already have about half of them full. So, you know, check in if we still have spaces around. Hopefully we do, if you're meant to be there. And level 1 is for anyone who wants to use Ahai for themselves. Level 2 is for anybody who wants to be able to send the energy to other people. So I know that not everybody maybe wants to send energy to others, but this is such an invaluable tool. You know, everything we talk about on this show and what the guides talk about, it's all energetics. It's all understanding energy, because everything is energy. And the deeper we get into this ascension journey, the more we're going to realize that doing things the manual way simply just doesn't really work anymore. And so having these energy tools, it's so important for fortifying yourself and really being self-sufficient and getting out of that energetic codependency, getting answers for yourself. Ahai has helped so many people open up their own gifts. You know, it was super important for me in growing my channeling abilities as well. It has been the tool that has allowed me to really shift into the oracle work 100%. It was part of the walk. It was like, I mean, that's my tool. And I don't know how I would, I mean, I I use it for everything. I charge my food with it. I use it to work on my business. Obviously, I use Ahai to work with clients and to send, you know, in membership containers and with private clients, but I use Ahai in every area of my life, even outside of that being part of my business, you know. And so I just feel as an entrepreneur, it's invaluable. As a parent, it's invaluable. As a person, it's invaluable to really develop your own spiritual gifts and abilities, and to be able to, you know, have something solid as a foundation to work with energy. So if you are feeling called to that, I invite you to apply, to step in. It really is a life-changing experience. It's such a gift for me to see the transformations throughout this process. It's my favorite time of year, Ahai training, and I just love hearing the testimonials, witnessing as people transform physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and it's just really, really powerful work. So we'll put the links for that in the description / show notes if you want to enroll. And, you know, I think coming back to this place just reminds me of even more of the magic, and more of the miracles. But it's just very fascinating to come back here and feel so different, and to notice things that I wasn't even noticing before, and things that maybe I was attached to, or I had built up a story in my head about, like certain places being so amazing and this is so great, or I don't like that, or whatever it was. And you come back at a different frequency, at a different place in your life, and you're like, yeah, I don't really see it that way anymore. And for me, it's fascinating because so much unlocked for me in San Diego, and then it like spit me out. And I have this thing in San Diego where everything just kind of doesn't go right for me. It's not that things go wrong, kind of, but it's more of like things just don't really go right. And one example of that is I was telling my friend, he was laughing at me, he might be listening. I'm like, the traffic that I specifically somehow hit everywhere I'm going, it's like I'm always late everywhere. I can leave 3 hours early for something and I'm still late, and it should be a 15-minute drive. Like, I don't know what happens, and all this crazy shit was happening, like involving my car, and then like I was getting blocked in, and the car's gonna get towed, and then I'm hitting all this weird traffic. And I was telling my friend this, and he was like, what's so funny is, as we're sitting here, I've never seen so many accidents happen literally right behind us. So there's just this weird thing that happens, specifically with cars. And when I got in my car to drive here, my whole sound system, I've never had an issue with my car. My whole sound system just stopped working. And we're sitting there, I'm trying to finagle with it, and I'm like, I mean, I gotta go. So I guess we're just gonna be in silence. So I start driving, and then I pull over for gas, and I'm like, I need to energy heal this because I want to listen to music or something in my 6-hour drive. So I start sending Ahai to it, which has saved many electronic devices. I will let you know, and my friends can attest to that. I have healed so many TVs, and I start sending Ahai, and the guides are like, they were like, the real reason that it's not working. And I was like, ugh, I know. And I just keep getting this nudge that I need to get a new car, and I really don't want to get a new car for so many reasons, mostly including I have zero interest in like dealing with cars. I just don't care. I'm not a car person. And honestly, there's just nothing right now that I really like want. When people have an idea of like, oh, I want that car, like there's nothing really that's been like I just don't want to deal with it. But I keep getting that nudge, keep getting that message all around, and I'm like, okay, fine. So I said, okay, if you turn on my stereo again, because it's just a blank screen, it's totally dead. Nothing's working. And I'm like, if you turn it on again, I promise I will look into getting a new car when I get back. And it turned on immediately. And I was like, you're kidding. So I basically just set the intention that whatever car I'm supposed to get will be made obvious to me. So I'm just paying attention to what gets delivered to me, especially throughout this trip. If anyone has a car they really love for me to look into, let me know. So I'm sharing that story because that is just an example of how my life works. And a lot of people are going to start really getting on this track, right? Where it's like literally things are not working because they are working. They're not working because they are working. They're working for you, saying, this is not the path. We're trying to get your attention, right? And it's going to be the same thing with the body. It's going to be the same thing with the body. And I want to talk about the body because this has been a huge topic coming up in the last couple of Oracle calls, and just intuitively, we've talked a lot about screens. Like she keeps talking about the screens, and I have been dealing with this whole shift in my relationship with screens even more intensely. And because I quite literally, I have to manage my time. I'm going to be making a lot of changes. So I'm on the screens less, and what it's doing to our field. She was talking a lot about the eye and using our eyes to manifest, and the codes that come from our eyes. And I've just been thinking about all of this and recognizing how, the body is reacting. I don't even know if differently, yes, but almost just like where it was a whisper, it's a scream. And I know we say that usually in the realm of like chronic illness, listen to your body when it's whispering, but the body is the vessel through this experience. And the body is going to be guiding you to the places, to the people that have what you need, right? Your higher self is working with your body to be like, all right, let's get her there, And so one of the things that happens for me in San Diego is my body just doesn't like it. My body just doesn't like it. I have every like weird symptom. Like I'm just like, my body doesn't like the field here. And that is a built-in mechanism so that I'm not here because I'm supposed to be somewhere else, because going to Arizona for so many reasons, foundationally, was required for me to unlock a lot of things that are now getting unlocked, And so people are getting rearranged big time right now. And same with food. Things not working as much so that we look at other ways to fuel our bodies and we find the nutrients that we need, And I've been talking, I know that Oracle was talking about teeth, and this has been like a hot topic in my life, just with people in my life, with friends, with clients. And I had done a podcast before about the teeth, but like this teeth thing keeps coming up of like, I've been having stuff happen with my teeth and all my friends are having it too. And there's, a lot to talk about with that. We talked about like the Akashic records and the trauma getting stored in the teeth. And you can go back to that podcast episode there. But the other side of it is like the teeth, are one way that we really get redirected to make a lot of changes. And so a lot of the changes that I've made with my diet and my lifestyle, I guess, in support of my tooth health were the same things that the Oracle wanted to support the vessel so that she could come in. And I really didn't connect that until I was deeper into it. And then I realized, oh, these were all the same thing. And I was getting guided really for a larger purpose, bigger than my teeth, but the teeth were really a vessel, And so paying attention to, I think, especially like environmentally, how your body is responding, how your body is responding to people you're around, how your body is responding to tasks that you're doing in your day-to-day, in your career, how your body is responding to your career itself, how your body is responding to your home, how it's responding to colors, how it's responding to energies, dynamics, group settings, having alone time, like noticing all these little things, because the body is very responsive and people always jump to a physiological issue. And I'm not saying there's never a physiological issue, but that's the body's way of talking. And we're really going to see this ramping up right now. And so this is where the weird symptoms come into play. Like they're bringing up like, going back to the eye of like, I don't know why I just can't look. And I've been having this experience recently where I've walked into a store or a place and I'm like, I literally can't look in that direction. Like it's like hurting my eyes. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong or bad. It's like literally a resonance thing where I'm like, I literally can't look and I have like blurry vision over here. But when I just turn my head, my vision's fine. Things like that. And that's about that energy exchange that's happening through our eyes and how actually intense it's getting, and that's part of the telepathy turning online and how we're transferring energy through our eyes. That was something that, the Oracle was talking about. And noticing like when you're having a symptom and how you're feeling in your body, any strange symptoms you're feeling, temperature changes, emotions, how many of those are really yours versus other people, and noticing when you go into certain places, like how your body is actually responding now, right? And do things shift when you go to a new place, So they just really want to highlight that because the body is going to be communicating with us a lot more and a lot more intensely to get us back on track. And environment is a huge thing for us to look at right now because location does matter. Location carries codes. It's a safety space. It's a container, right? And so thinking about like having that container, that masculine energy for you to flow in, whatever wants to flow through you from the divine needs the right container, right? And that includes, that's people, that's places, that's living situation. And for a lot of people, like really what we're being guided to do is simplify. It really is simplification. It's really looking at where there's so much getting mixed around that we're not even able to fully receive or process what's going on. So one example of this is with food and simplifying food. Another example is within, for me, like business, I've been looking at, okay, let's simplify this, because where's all this extra stuff? The guys keep telling me this about wardrobe and clothes, and they keep having me get rid of everything. It's like simplify. Like belongings, for sure, and even just in your daily routines, right? How many of us have these super complicated routines? Exercise. I've changed my exercise routine because I was like, I just need this to feel really, really simple, because it's in that simplification, from that simplification, that we open up the space for more to be delivered. And right now, so much wants to be delivered. We just have to be open channels to receive it, And so a lot of you ask about how to open your channel and how to receive more information. And I'll tell you what's not letting you receive more information: scrolling on social media. I'll tell you what's not helping you receive more information is clouding your brain with a ton of information, right? It's not to never exchange information or energy. Like, that's great. But a lot of us are being flooded with everybody else's to-dos, everybody else's thoughts, and specifically thoughts that aren't even on the frequency train we want to be writing. You know what I'm saying? So simplifying like who and what we're paying attention to, because it goes back to that concept of being energetically dispersed. Like, I can't even explain how important this is. And right now, if you're feeling that urgency, if you're feeling that like, hey, it's go time, or I can feel something big wants to come through, or I'm like, so I need to know my next step. And it's like, are you setting yourself up to be an open vessel for the divine guidance? Are you setting yourself up to actually be in a receiving mode, to rest, to not think, right? To just be listening. And it's the same energy as if I sat down in front of you and I was about to start talking. What would you do? You just sit back and be ready to listen. You're not anticipating what you're going to say. You're not trying to think of what you need to figure out or what you need to say. Like, that's the energy of receiving and some open space. And I think a lot of us are at the point where it might be helpful to actually carve out some open space to receive. And realizing where I think, how do I describe that? Like, they're basically saying, it's like if you looked at your calendar and you looked at how busy you were and you moved that, like, it's like being busy and productive and doing things is like 80% of people's days. And then 20% is them. And we need to flip-flop that, and that will force us to be more effective. It goes back to time expansion and contraction. I always think about, like, especially when I was in college, I'm like, how did I do everything I did? It made no sense. I went to class, I did all my homework, I wrote all my papers. I had 4 internships. I ran 4 different clubs. I had a super busy social life every day of the week. And I'm like, it was like I was running off vibes. I was running off vibes. Like, I don't know how I did that. And a lot of that was because I didn't overthink it. I wasn't worried about how I was going to get it done. It just had to get done. And I had so much happening that when there was an open pocket, whatever needed to happen just got done in that time. Right. And I think when we're very busy, we can be good at that. But what if we didn't have to be busy to be good at that? We just prioritize different things. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I've already decided that this amount of my day is for me and the things I want to prioritize and things that, like, I want to be spending my time on, and it's personal or whatever it is. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm only left with this 4-hour pocket. I'd probably be really productive with my 4-hour pocket, And so not having to be busy to figure that out. What's coming through right now, what we're being called to look at, because so much really big stuff wants to come in. It's really looking at these things that are basic but are foundational. It's the reason why I'm obsessed with, I'll just say, yeah, I guess I love, I'm not obsessed with it, but I love hearing about people's daily routines, their morning routines, because literally the way that somebody sets up their day, and that's really setting their frequency for the day. There was a daily oracle message about this, like, I don't know, a couple days ago as I record this, about setting up your week. Like, what's the intention for the week? What's the energy for the week? What's the frequency for the week? And when you're really intentional about the frequency that you're setting for your week and for your day, now all of your choices can align with that, right? So if I've decided that I want to feel calm and peaceful and spacious, the choices I'm going to make after I've aligned with that, after I've fully chosen that, because truly choosing it, not just thinking about it or thinking that would be nice, choosing it is a vibrational adjustment. And then all of the choices that I make after that will come from that frequency, right? So when I get really intentional about the frequency I want to set, and then I fully calibrate to that, I'm seeing through a different pair of glasses at the rest of the choices for my week. And then it becomes very easy. This is a yes, this is a no. I would like this. I would rather not this, right? You're seeing it from a different lens. And so we have to take a couple of steps back to be really intentional about the frequencies we want to set in our lives and start to make different daily choices to align with that. That's where this all starts, because a lot of what is, it's like, there's like energetic constipation happening for a lot of people right now. There's so much that's ready to move through. There's this excitement, like I'm ready to go. Come on, give me the mission. And it's not fully getting delivered, or all the pieces aren't in place, or it's not able to fully get carried out yet, because we've got to get everything set up. Like they're showing me the image of a rocket, and it's like all the people getting the rocket ready to go. Right? It's like we're getting the rocket ready to go. And that's looking at all of our relationships. That's looking at our daily routines. That's looking at, what's on our plate. And that's looking at our priorities, right? And so what the guys are saying right now is they're like, this is time for a priority audit. Can you audit your priorities and really look at me now? What are the things that are serving me? And what are the things that are not? And even with like things I used to listen to every morning that made me feel good. One day I woke up and I was like, I just actually don't want to do this anymore. I actually just don't want to listen to anything, or I actually just want to listen to this instead, or I want to listen to binaural beats, And so noticing what we're doing out of habit versus actually feeling good for us now. But I think that, we can't emphasize the importance of this enough, because people are ready for their spiritual gifts to turn online. People are ready for the mission. And it's like, yeah, I want all this, but I'm not willing to look over here. And guess what? The stuff that's really like allowed the channel to come through, that's allowed my shifts, transformation, it's like, it's not the sexy stuff. It's not a super complicated process, right? Like it's not some super secret psychic process. That's not it. It's not a secret process, right? It's literally like, this is the life stuff. This is the making certain choices. This is the looking at my priorities, right? And for example, with the Oracle, when I'm like, I'm ready to bring this through, I'm like, okay, I'm prioritizing this, and that's reshaping all of my other priorities. That's reshaping every single thing I need in my life, support-wise, and how I'm going to take care of myself and what my daily routines are, right? Because that's my new priority right now. And so what we're being called to look at is, what are my priorities in my life right now? Not what I expected them to be at this point in my life, not what other people are expecting them to be for me right now, not what I wanted them to be last week or last month or last year. But right now, if I'm being honest with myself, what do I desire? What am I craving? What are my priorities right now? Because those can also change in the future. They will. Great. And you can recalibrate when you have a new priority, right? But the thing is that everyone wants to just launch and go. And this is part of spiritual maturity is, if I have a big vision, and this is what people don't understand. And I have this chat with so many new entrepreneurs all the time, specifically in my space. They're like, I just want to do this and that. And I'm like, I get it. But you want to know what my life is like, right? It's like, it's not, I get this idea and then great, we're all doing it tomorrow. It's like, hey, when I know this is coming, we are spending all this time reorganizing everything so the foundation is there, so that when we launch and go, it doesn't crack. And so if you're really committed to the vision, and if you have decided it's going to work out, then you're okay with doing that foundational work to set it up, because you're setting up the solid foundation to build your house. But a lot of people are like wanting to build the house. They don't want to build the foundation. They're wondering why it's not working. And it's because you're not fully committed to the house. You're saying you want it, but you haven't fully committed to it. Right. And this came up with a client the other day, and I want to bring it up here. And I was telling him, I said, there is a difference between accepting your mission and claiming it. And for me, I'm not saying this has to be true for anybody else, but just giving you an example. For me, there was probably a 3-year gap between when I had accepted my mission and when I had claimed it. And so there was a long period of time, and I didn't recognize the difference between those two things. There was a long period of time when I had accepted, this is what I'm here to do, and this is what the mission is, and this is what it's going to look like. And my energy was more, okay, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. I had accepted it, right? And there's, of course, that whole period beforehand of actually accepting it. But I hadn't yet claimed it. And it wasn't until truly pretty recently, as I just say this, there's a dog walking by that literally looks like a lion. It's so big, and it's like its hair is done like whatever. Wow. I'll let that be there. I had accepted it, but I hadn't yet claimed it. And it wasn't until a few months ago that I feel like I really, really claimed it. And I wasn't ready to claim it until I felt supported in claiming it. Because there was a piece of me that wasn't ready to fully claim it and say, yes, not only do I accept this, but I'm ready. I'm choosing, I'm claiming, I'm owning, I want it, I'm in, let's go. Not, okay, well, if I have to do that, I'll do it. You see the difference, the energy? It wasn't until I vibrationally, emotionally felt really solid and supported around me and could see how that support was going to continue to grow and I would be fully held, that I was ready to claim it, and so that's where the logistic pieces do come into play. Like, this is all part of it. It's all part of it. It's like the things like, I need to change this on the website, and I need to set this offer up differently. And, for me moving, or like I'm changing this with my routine, or we're moving this around with responsibilities, or I need to outsource this, or I need to hire this. Like, all of those pieces do come into play for me to be at a space where I was like, okay, not only do I accept this, but I'm claiming it. Like, let's go. I feel really, really ready, And so that concept of when do you feel ready is a whole other topic of like, do you ever really feel ready? Not fully, but there's a place where I'm like, okay, I'm solid of like, if we launch this rocket, like, let's go. Right? And it's sort of like the difference between I'm looking at the rocket and I know I'm going to get on it. I'm like, okay, I'll get on it, versus I'm choosing to get in the rocket and press blast off, which I highly doubt is how a rocket actually takes off. You get what I'm saying? So think about that. What have you accepted but not claimed? And that includes whatever you're manifesting. What have you been desiring that you haven't fully claimed? There's a difference, right? Where you're like, yeah, I really want love. I really want this. And you want it, but you haven't fully claimed it, of being in an energy of, this is mine. I have the desire because there's a timeline where it's mine. It's mine somewhere in the field, and I'm claiming this right now. I'm deciding I'm ready, not waiting to feel ready to then go, right? I'm deciding I'm ready in the claiming it. And that's going to be true with what we're manifesting. That's going to be true with the mission. It's like noticing where that gap is, where I've accepted something, or I know I want something, but I haven't yet claimed it. And now is the time to claim it. Because when you've really claimed it, you see with different glasses, and you suddenly see what gets to rearrange to fully support you in that, because you've anchored in the timeline of, this is happening. This is happening. Right? And so if you haven't yet claimed it, there's still a possibility where you can back out or run away. And this is the different flavor of co-creation. It's not where the universe drags me, I go. It's a co-creative process. And that also is you deciding things, and you picking timelines, and you choosing to say yes to this, and you claiming, let's go. I'm ready to work with you. It's not a healthy relationship if you're just being dragged. Right? And so there will be places where you're getting nudged and you're being guided. And there are going to be places where you're like, hey, I'm choosing this, I'm claiming this, and this is where we're directing the energy. You are the director, right? And the divine works with you. So that's the real CTA, I would say, right? Like, have you really claimed it? And what would it look like for you to really claim it? And what do you need to shift in your current reality in order for you to feel safe to claim it? Can you get really specific with yourself about that? And then can you make that request? Make that request with the divine very clearly. I require this so I can fully claim this because I'm ready to go, right? And also in your life, and start making choices, right? I've claimed it, and now I see what gets to be adjusted, what I need to be adjusted so I can fully go. So I'm making these different choices to make this happen. And that brings it into the reality. Some things to think about. So anyway, we'll see what unfolds for me on this trip. I'll keep y'all updated. And again, Ahai enrollment is open this week, which I don't know when this will end, the week of the 23rd until Friday, unless spots fill up early. So you can check out all of the information and testimonials and things like that on the website. We'll put that in the description below /show notes for you to check out. And don't forget to join Ascension School if you haven't already. The membership, we're doing monthly Oracle calls, which are so amazing. There's lots of good stuff in there, and I'm processing and reeling from that, so we've got a lot of cool stuff that's being delivered our way. We need all of you here stepping into your missions, and it's where we will leave it today. All right. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you so much. Sending you so much love. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll chat with you again next episode.